I was still shaking, sitting there with my newborn son in my arms, thinking nothing could top the 20 hours we had just spent in that delivery room. I figured the hardest part of the day was behind me. I was wrong. Sierra, my wife, was lying in the hospital bed, her hair soaked with sweat, but her eyes? They were sharp. Too sharp. Like she had been waiting for this exact moment, hiding a smirk behind the pain of labor. The nurse handed over the birth certificate paperwork, and I was ready to sign my name next to my boy's. But before I could even reach for it, Sierra snatched the form from my hand. She looked at me and said, flat as a frying pan on a cold stove, "Our son is taking my mom's last name, not yours." I just stood there, dumbfounded. "What?" "You heard me," she snapped, acting like I was the fool for asking. I looked around, my heart punching through my chest. Even the nurse froze. Then, barely loud enough for Sierra to hear, she leaned in and whispered, "Want me to tell him?" I shot down my back. "Tell me what?" Sierra's expression soured. "Don't you dare," she warned the nurse. But the nurse, bless her guts, stepped up anyway. "We ran a DNA pre-screen to test for a rare condition," she said. "And, well, we discovered something else." "What are you talking about?" I asked, though deep down I already knew. "Mr. Walker, you are not the baby's biological father." Silence fell hard. Sierra's face faltered for a second, panic flashing just briefly, before she pulled her mask back on and hissed, "You were never man enough to be his dad anyway." My world split right there in that room. I looked down at the tiny sleeping baby I had just cried over. My son? No, not mine. I managed to ask, "Who is the father?" Sierra rolled her eyes, annoyed. "Relax, Dan. It is no one you know. Just a guy who actually satisfies a woman." I wanted to explode, but I just stood there, stunned, staring at the woman I had married 3 years earlier. The one who held my hand when I lost my job. The one I thought I was building a future with. Turns out I was just a character in her lie. "You were really going to throw all this away?" I asked. She shrugged like she had already flushed it all months ago. "You did not notice then, just like you do not notice anything else." I left that room like a ghost, drifting past the nursery and down into the parking garage. I sat in the driver's seat of our car and screamed like my lungs might give out. Not because I lost a child, but because the woman I gave my heart to was a stranger. A liar. A venomous woman with a pretty smile and a knife behind her back. And that was only the beginning. I did not sleep that night. Every time I shut my eyes, I saw her face, not the one I married, but the one who smirked when she tore my world apart. The next morning, I returned to the hospital. I needed answers. Not peace. Not closure. Just the raw truth. She was awake. Hair brushed. Makeup on. Texting. Smiling. "Look who crawled back," she said without even looking up. "Who is the father?" I asked again. "Why? So you can stalk him and cry in your truck?" She laughed. I took a deep breath, trying not to explode. "I am not in the mood, Sierra." "You never are," she said. "That is why I had to find someone who was." My fist clenched, but I kept my cool for the baby's sake. "Who is it?" She finally looked at me. "His name is Marcus. My boss." My heart dropped. Marcus? The guy she swore was like a brother to her? I remembered all the late nights. The sudden attitude when I offered to bring her dinner. "Do not come," she would snap. "It is not allowed." Every flag I had ignored? They all came back, stabbing harder. "How long?" I asked. "Almost a year. So before the baby. Before everything. You got pregnant on purpose, didn't you?" She looked straight at me, not an ounce of guilt. "I wanted a baby. Marcus did not. You were dumb enough to believe it was yours." I could hardly breathe. My knees went weak. My hands gripped the hospital bed rail like it might keep me standing. She shrugged the blanket over the baby and muttered, "I thought about getting rid of it. But you were so excited." I figured, what the hell? I did not yell. I did not cry. I just left. I went home to our apartment, or what used to be ours. Everything looked wrong. The throw blanket she loved. The wedding photos. It all felt dirty. I started packing. Just basics, jeans, shirts, hoodie. I paused at the drawer with our wedding pictures. I could not even touch them. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Sierra. "Leave your keys. This is my place now." No apology. No regret. Just staking her claim. I left the keys on the counter and walked away. But I was not done. That night, I crashed on my brother Tyler's couch. He handed me a beer. Did not ask questions. Just turned on the game. Later, I told him everything. From the nurse to Marcus. He stared at the floor for a minute, then said, That's next level evil, man. The days that followed were a blur. I could not eat, could not sleep. Just replayed all the moments, how I raced across town for her favorite tea, how I painted the nursery. Every loving act, a punchline in her sick little joke. 5 days later, she called. I need your health insurance to stay active. The baby's still under your plan. The baby that is not mine, I said. Silence. You are really going to do this? You did this, I snapped. You were being dramatic. That word snapped something in me. Sierra, you lied to me for a year. You let me dream about a life with that child. You stared me in the eyes and told me you loved me while another man was making a family behind my back. She sighed, like I was exhausting her. You are hurt. I get it. But what is done is done. Does Marcus even know? She hesitated. He is married. He does not know. You mean, you have not told him? I will. When the time is right. I laughed, cold and bitter. So I was your safety net. You were being cruel. No, Sierra. You were just not used to hearing the truth. I hung up. That was the moment something changed. My grief? It became fuel. I called a lawyer the next morning. Explained everything. DNA test. Hospital report. Her signing the birth certificate without me. She may have committed fraud, he said. Good, I replied. Explore every angle. A week later, I got a message from an unknown number. Hey, I think we need to talk. Found your number in Sierra's phone. This is Marcus. My stomach dropped. I called him. First ring, he answered. Dan? I just found out. I had no idea. She told you about the baby? He exhaled. Only today. Said you flipped out at the hospital and made something up. I did not believe her. I checked the hospital records. She listed me as a family friend. What is wrong with her? You really do not know? No. She said you two were separated. That the baby was yours. Silence. I told my wife, and she kicked me out. Stay away from Sierra again, he said, and my wife swears she'll bury me. Smart woman, I replied. That was the last real thing Marcus and I said to each other. I did not need anything from him, and I think he knew it. It was strange, though, knowing the guy who wrecked my life was just another puppet in Sierra's sideshow. I used to think he stole something from me. Turns out he got played just like I did. A few nights after that, her name showed up on my screen again. I did not answer. I just stared at it, like I was watching some kind of virus flash across my phone. My thumb hovered over the red decline button for too long, but I let the call time out. Let her sit in silence. Let her wonder why I wasn't biting anymore. Then came the text, we should really talk. No yelling. Just talk. I locked my phone and tossed it across the room. That night, I was in Mason's garage, just me, a bottle of bourbon, and a cardboard box, my last few things from the apartment. Mason had picked them up for me when Sierra, in her usual grace, said I didn't need to show up. Inside, a couple of old sweaters, my gaming headset, a photo album, and a letter. Her handwriting was on the envelope. Part of me wanted to chuck it straight into the trash, but I opened it. It was scribbled fast, like she wrote it in a rush. Daniel, I know you hate me. I probably would too. I lied because I was scared. You were safe. Marcus was exciting. I never meant to destroy you, but I don't regret my son. He's my everything. I hope one day you find peace. You're a good man. S. No apology. Just excuses dressed up to look like honesty. Scared, she called it. That is what she said about tearing apart someone's world just because she got bored. I shoved the letter back into the box, closed it, and slid it under Mason's workbench. Out of sight, where it belonged. A couple weeks passed. No calls. No drama. Nothing, until I got a Facebook message from Alex, a friend we used to hang out with. He sent me a screenshot of Sierra's Instagram. She was all smiles, holding the baby like she was the Virgin Mary herself. Caption, starting fresh with my little miracle blue heart, hashtag new beginnings, hashtag no more drama. No mention of me. No mention of the truth. Just her basking in a made-up fairy tale, pretending the man she conned into fatherhood never existed. That's when I cracked. I made a throwaway account and commented. Miracle? You mean the baby you lied about for 9 months while cheating with your boss? That one. 5 minutes later, the comment vanished. I was blocked. A few seconds after that, my phone buzzed again. Sierra, that was low. I thought you were better than that. But I was not better anymore. She saw to that. I focused on putting myself back together. Hit the gym again. Started eating properly. Blocked every number that had any trace of her in it. Anyone we both knew? Gone. Wiped out. Then, 3 months after the birth came another knock on the door. I figured it was the landlord. Maybe a package. It was Marcus. He looked like hell. Shirt wrinkled, eyes bloodshot, hair a mess like he had been through a blender. "What do you want?" I asked. "She wrecked my life too," he said, "and I think we both deserve some kind of justice." I just stared. "She's filing for child support," he added. "Told me I'd never have to be involved, and now she's coming after me." I gave a bitter laugh. "She told me the same thing. Welcome to the show." He looked nervous. "I know we're not buddies, Dan, but she's out of control. If we don't do something, she'll do this to someone else." "How?" "I've got stuff. Proof. Texts. Photos. Even voice recordings." He looked serious. Angry. Not wild, just focused. Like a guy who finally snapped after being used too many times. I leaned against the door. My head was spinning. Revenge was never the goal. But maybe this wasn't revenge. Maybe it was just finally letting the truth breathe. "Come in," I said. He stepped inside like he was carrying a live grenade and needed a place to set it down. We sat at the kitchen table. I pushed Mason's toolbox aside, handed Marcus a glass of water. He ignored it, pulled out his phone, and started scrolling. "Look," he said. "First image, a selfie from my bedroom. Our sheets. My hoodie." Her smile. Like she had just gotten away with murder. Then came the messages. Dozens. All time-stamped. Some overlapped with when Sierra and I were still doing anniversary dinners. One of them stopped my breath. "Don't worry, Marcus. Daniel will think it's his. He's too blind to question it." That was the one that gutted me. "She sent me videos too," Marcus said, opening a Google folder. "I couldn't watch them after I found out. But they're bad. I did not ask to see. I could not. I was already choking on memories." "What do you want to do with all this?" I asked. "She's threatening to take me to court," he said. "I want to get ahead of her. Go public. Let the truth out. Not names or faces. Just the story. So she can't do this again to anyone else." I nodded. This was not about hurting her back. It was about making sure she did not erase us from the story. We got to work. Marcus organized everything. Texts, pictures, even the dates of the lies. I reached out to the nurse from the hospital. She remembered it all. Agreed to write a sworn statement about the DNA results and Sierra's reaction. It felt like we were preparing for battle. We published it one evening. No names. No cities. Just a raw post on a big confession forum. A full breakdown. Fake paternity, betrayal, lies, emotional wreckage, and the signs we missed. By morning, it had gone viral. Thousands of comments. "This is sick. How is this legal? She needs to be in jail. I'm sending this to every guy I know." I just stared at the screen. My chest pounding. Not from fear. From freedom. That afternoon, I got a message from Sierra. No hello. No apology. Just, "Was that you?" I ignored it. Then she wrote again. "You're ruining my life." I finally replied. "You did that on your own." Then I blocked her. No more messages. No more games. Later that night, Marcus sent one last text. "She's spiraling. Saying it's all fake. Telling people we made it up." I just smiled. Let her scream. The truth was out now. The control she thought she had, it was gone. I did not throw a party. There was no toast. Just peace. Quiet. The kind of silence that finally feels like healing. I slept that night. For real. When I woke up, it was nearly noon. For a moment, I forgot everything. Then I saw the folder of screenshots on my desk, and instead of breaking me, it reminded me. I survived. 2 days later, Mason came home grinning, phone in hand. "You seen this yet?" he asked, tossing it to me. A TikTok, 3 million views. A woman was narrating our post, reading every word like a campfire story. She cheated with her boss, lied about the baby, told her husband he had no say. But the nurse had a secret that changed everything. I sat back, stunned. Mason chuckled. "Dude, you're a damn legend now." The comments were crazy. People were furious, heartbroken, amazed. But what hit hardest were the direct messages. Dozens of men, strangers, from different towns, different countries, all saying the same thing. "This happened to me too." Fake fatherhood, cheating while pregnant, manipulation dressed up like love. The messages kept pouring in, but one stuck with me. A guy named Eric from Arizona messaged me directly. He said, "Man, your story saved me. I was about to sign my kid's birth certificate. Something felt wrong. Got a paternity test today. Turns out she cheated. You might have saved my whole life." I sat there staring at that message for a long time. That's when I realized this was bigger than me, or Sierra, or Marcus. It was about every guy who's ever been lied to, then told he's crazy for asking questions. Every man who handed over his heart just to watch someone grind it under their heel while smiling. That night, I met up with Marcus one last time. We picked a small coffee shop in the middle of town, neutral ground, public, nothing dramatic. He looked better, clean-shaven, a little color back in his face. The damage was still there, but he looked more like a person than a ghost. "I think we're done," I said. He nodded. "Yeah, I think so too." He slid an envelope across the table. I didn't touch it right away. "What's this?" I asked. "My half of the legal costs," he said. "I know I helped wreck the whole thing, but I respect what we did. Getting the truth out like that." I took it. No need for thank yous. Just nodded. As we were heading out, he turned and said, "I'm going to fight for custody." I stopped. "Seriously? She's not right," he said. "Didn't want to see it before, but she's dangerous. I want to give the kid a shot. Even if he's mine, I'm not going to leave him the way she wanted me to." I respected that. Even if part of me still wanted to punch him, I respected it. I left the coffee shop feeling lighter than I had in a long time. Like the pressure in my chest finally let go. A week later, I moved into a small apartment. Clean, simple, quiet. White walls, no framed memories, just space. I bought a basic couch, a decent mattress, and started writing again. I had not done that in years. I wrote everything down. The betrayal, the lies, the days I could not breathe. Not for pity, not even for revenge. Just to be honest. Maybe to start healing. Sierra tried reaching out again. Burner phones. Fake accounts. One day, she even mailed a card, no return address, just her handwriting on the envelope. "I miss how you used to look at me," it said. I did not read the rest. Just tossed it into Mason's backyard fire pit and watched it curl and burn. That version of her was dead. And the real her? She was just a scar now. A warning label I would never ignore again. But me? I was still here. Not the same. No. Stronger. Wiser. Not as open. But never blind again. If even one guy reads what I went through and decides to think twice before ignoring his gut, then it was worth it. If it keeps one guy from signing a name on a birth certificate that is not his, then the pain had a purpose. She burned down the house she built from lies. I walked out of the smoke clean. Spring hit quicker than I expected that year. Funny how time speeds up once the chaos stops. Maybe it was just the quiet. Or maybe when you stop chasing someone who's been running from you for years, your body finally exhales. I felt different. The way I walked into a room, the way I talked to people. I was no longer shrinking to make someone else feel big. I had buried the old me, the guy who let Sierra lie, who let her mold the truth until he didn't recognize it anymore. That version of me was gone. One afternoon, I ran into her sister, Amber. It happened at a little corner coffee shop. She came in loud, talking on her phone, then froze when she saw me. "Daniel," she said. "Wow, you look good. Didn't know you were back," I said, keeping it even. "Just visiting my mom," she replied. "She still says you were the best thing that ever happened to Sierra." "Really?" Amber nodded. "She hates what happened. We all do. I wish I had seen it coming. Maybe I could have warned you." I did not say anything. I did not have to. She could feel it. "She's spiraling," Amber added. "Lost her job. Caleb's trying for full custody. Lawyers won't touch her case. People are finding out." I should have felt satisfaction. A year ago, I might have. But all I felt was tired. Like the battle was over, and I had no interest in standing on the ashes. "She reached out to me again last week," Amber said, "begging me to talk to you. Said she wanted to meet, explain everything." "There's nothing left to explain," I told her. Amber just nodded. "Good. You deserve better." She left. I stood there with my coffee, letting her words echo. I did not feel angry. Not sad. Just empty. But it was the kind of empty that comes after healing. Not pain. Just space. I walked for a while after that. No goal. No reason. Just breathing. Just being. And for the first time in a long time, that was enough. That night, I checked in on the post we shared. Still live. Still growing. Still helping people. A new comment popped up. This made me rethink everything. I did a paternity test, came back negative. "You saved me." I stared at that comment for a while, then closed the tab. I had gotten what I needed from that chapter. It was time to stop rereading it. A month later, I started dating again. Slowly. No big talk, no fairy tale. Just coffee and conversation. Her name was Rachel. She was sharp, funny, straightforward. When I told her the truth about my past, she did not flinch, did not pity me. She just listened. When I said I still had trouble trusting people, she smiled and said, "That's okay. We'll take it slow." That was all I needed. One night, we sat on my balcony, wrapped in a blanket, watching the lights of the city flicker like little fires. She leaned her head against my shoulder and asked, "Do you ever miss her?" I did not even need to think. "No," I said. "I miss who I thought she was. But I don't miss her." Rachel just nodded. We did not talk after that. Just sat there in the quiet. And for once, that silence did not ache. It healed. A few weeks later, I got another letter. A real one. Handwritten, no return address, just my name on the envelope in that same neat handwriting. I knew it was hers. There was a faint scent of perfume on the page. Like she thought the smell alone could pull me back in. Same old tricks. Dead tools. I almost tossed it. But curiosity's stubborn. I read it. 2 pages of pure Sierra. Melodrama. Guilt bait. Crocodile tears spelled in ink. "I'm sorry for what I did. You were good to me. I know I hurt you. I ruined everything. I miss your laugh. I miss our home. I thought I wanted something wild, but what I really needed was you." I folded the letter, tucked it into a drawer. Not because it meant something, but because one day I might need to remind myself how far I've come. She wanted to rewrite the ending, but I already did. She signed the letter with one line, cold and sharp enough to cut through the fake warmth above it. If you ever believe there's a version of us that could still work, call me. You don't even have to say anything. I'll know. I read it twice. Then I burned it. Not out of spite. Not out of hate. Just for closure. Because Sierra didn't miss me. She missed control. She missed being the one who got to decide when I smiled, when I begged, when I crawled. She missed having a man wrapped so tightly around her finger that he couldn't see the match in her other hand. But that man was gone. I buried him with that letter's ashes. That night, I was sitting on the back porch, just staring at the fire pit as the last pieces of the page turned to black curls and floated up into the dark. Rachel stepped out quietly beside me, holding 2 drinks. She didn't say a word, just handed me one and sat down next to me. After a while, she spoke gently. Was it her? I nodded. Yeah. What did she want? I stared at the glowing coals. Another round of the same game. Did you respond? No. She nodded. That was it. No lecture. No digging. Just trust. That silence spoke louder than any words Sierra ever wrote. The next morning, I checked my email and found a message from a podcast producer. She'd seen the story I posted online, said she wanted to interview me for an episode about betrayal, male trauma, and healing. At first, I sat there staring at the screen. Was I ready? I didn't know. But I did know this. My story had weight. Not because I wanted attention, but because I wasn't the only man who'd lived it. There were thousands of us, quiet, ashamed, confused, carrying around pain with no one to talk to about it. So I wrote back. I'll do it. But we tell the truth. No soft talk. 10 minutes later, she replied, that's exactly what we want. 2 weeks later, I was sitting in a studio, headphones snug, mic inches from my face. My voice shook at first, but something happened as I spoke. It started to pour out. Not just the betrayal, not just the lies, but the nights I couldn't sleep, the weight I carried, the way it makes you question your own sanity. By the end, my hands weren't shaking anymore. When the episode dropped, it exploded overnight. Messages poured in. Some from men who'd lived the same thing. Some from women who'd finally seen the other side of these stories. Most were just folks saying the same thing. Thank you. I thought I was crazy. I thought I was alone. But I wasn't alone. None of us were. Time rolled on. Seasons changed. I stopped measuring life by how angry I was and started measuring it by how calm I felt. How clear the air was. How good the coffee tasted. How still my hands were when I woke up in the morning. Rachel and I, we took it slow. We never rushed. One night, she asked me, what do you want now? I thought about it. Peace, I said. Not just around me, inside me. She smiled and said, then let's build that. And for the first time in my life, I believed it was possible. Exactly 1 year after the nurse at the hospital whispered those words that shattered everything I thought I knew. I stood at a microphone, looking out at a small crowd gathered for a men's mental health fundraiser. I wasn't there as a victim. I wasn't there as a guy who got cheated on. I was there as someone who lived through it and decided not to stay broken. I told my story. No bitterness. No pity party. Just truth, the ugly, honest kind. When I looked out at the audience, I saw it. Heads nodding, eyes welling. Men who finally felt understood. Afterward, a young guy, couldn't have been more than 23, came up to me. Told me his fiancée had cheated while he was planning their wedding. Told me he'd hit a dark place. That he'd almost done something final. Then he found my podcast. "You saved my life," he said, voice shaking. And that was it. That was the moment it all made sense. Every scar, every tear, every shattered illusion. It led to something that mattered. Sierra? She was long gone. She lost custody, moved out of state, tried to stitch together a new life somewhere else. That wasn't my concern anymore. She became a warning sign I had already outgrown. Marcus won full custody after a tough legal fight. He sent me a picture once. The kid was covered in paint, smiling, holding a crumpled paper that said "Dad" in crooked little letters. I didn't reply. Didn't need to. That story was no longer mine. Rachel and I were still steady. She never tried to fix me. She just stayed, calm, consistent, real. That presence helped me find the parts of myself I thought were gone. One rainy night, we sat by the window. Her legs were stretched across my lap, a book in her hand. She looked up and asked softly, "Do you ever wish it hadn't happened?" I took my time before answering. "All of it," I asked. "The lies? The betrayal? The fallout?" She nodded. "No," I said. "I just wish I knew then what I know now." "What do you know now?" she asked. I smiled. Not sad, not bitter, just real. That love doesn't look like begging someone to stay. That peace is louder than passion. And sometimes, the worst thing that ever happens to you is the one thing that finally sets you free. She leaned in, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "You're free now." And she was right. I was.